What do you think about habit work? I don't know about you, but it can be hard. Habit work. Our topic today on Quick Start Your Success. So, habits. How do we take a possibility into a probability to know it will actually work? Habit realities. Well, as the picture shows, New Year's resolutions, it's one of the biggest habit days we ever have. And studies show that most people are quite unsuccessful in following through. Many, by the second week of January and especially into February, have already thrown up their hands and said, well, better luck next year. So here's the thing. They're not so easy to change. We need to face that fact as we go forward. And it requires discipline. Boy, if we could be like one of these reality shows, such as The Biggest Loser, where we would ship us all off to camp for several months, it would be a lot easier to work on this. But you're having to work on these habits in the midst of taking care of your customers and your patients. I realize that. That's why we will only work on 2 or 3 things at a time so that it does not become overwhelming and that you can apply your intention toward it. Then things can relapse. As we get under stress, as we go about our days, things want to regress back to the first or the deepest habit. And we have to be aware of that and find ways to prevent it or to get things back to normal. It's like wearing retainers after braces. Teeth want to shift back to where they used to be. So how do I think of habits? For me, I think of an old-time covered wagon, such as Little House on the Prairie days, where wagons would tend to fall into a groove to go down a path. It's like our minds. Our minds want to go down the easiest path, so it stays in the groove that we know. Well, to get it out, we have to get out of the current rut. And imagine a slow-moving wagon with a horse pulling it, trying to get up out of a groove. It tries up and it slides down. Tries, slides down. Tries, slides down again. It's work simply to get out of and break away from the normal routine. And once we're out, it's like no man's land. It can be a little scary because there's nothing guiding us at that moment. And it actually can be harder work because there's no groove making it easier for us. So we have to stick with it and go down that same path and that same path and that same path over and over again until we create a new groove. And we have to keep working on it to make it deeper and deeper and more routine. So what's needed? We actually need a guide. And that's why I put this picture here for you. There are 4 stages of learning and growth, and many times we've never gotten all the way through. We need a guide to help us. First of all, we sit here in the unconsciously incompetent area thinking, I need no help, as I mentioned when we were together training. But the reality is there may be a gap between what we think we're doing and what we need to do. And as soon as somebody shows us or tells us that we're not performing to what we expect, it can feel like this free fall of the consciously incompetent. It's like, OMG. Well, in that place, if we're not careful, we want to retreat back to our old ways because it's easier to stand on what we think is sure ground than to feel like a free fall. But that's my job to help you. I've got to help take you up that other side to where we can consciously competent and then unconsciously competent celebrate together. Because it's going to take work as we're making new habits. But that's what I'm here to help you with. We need a strategy, and we'll talk about that and a plan. So, our A plus strategy. Here's the first thing that's going to happen is your awareness is going to be raised. It's what always happens. You're going to feel like you got Amy on the brain. I'm sorry, but you're going to hear my voice in the back of your head as you go through your day. Let's use an example. If I were working with you on your greeting and you were saying, how can I help you? Instead of how may I help you? I'll say, we're going to work on exchanging the word can with the word may. And you'll go about your day and you'll run into it. How can I help you? It's all of a sudden going to hit you because you're going to hear me in your head. Keep moving through, but realize that awareness is the first part of making a change, and celebrate it, because in the past you had no awareness. You simply went right through it without even thinking about it. Acknowledgement goes really closely with that awareness, and it's a type of intention. I know I'm not doing this the way I want, and I intend to do it better, because it takes that effort and discipline. As we do that, the action starts to help. You'll be thinking, how may I help you? How may I help you? And with very intense effort, you may actually say it right. You may go, how may I help you? And with a lot of effort. And as you keep doing it over and over again, it'll get easier and easier. And then we have that A of achievement. We get to celebrate the full development and stabilization of that habit. So we're going to use what is called a habit cycle. And this was by Charles Duhigg in his book about habits. He talks about this habit cycle starts with a cue. So when such and such happens, let's use this phone call example we've had. When the phone rings, what am I going to do? I will say, how may I help you? And the reward is because it results in the proper grammar. This is the cycle we will use, because as we're together, we're going to be working habit upon habit, small change upon small change. So that is our topic about habits. I'm Amy Demas. Until next time, go communicate excellence.